shoot. I'm trying to find it. Let's see here.
It says we're streaming live on YouTube now. Yep, there it is. Yeah, it was weird. It was just playing the sound for me through it. So you don't even know your Facebook login at all?
No, I did get logged back into Kristen's. So if you want to try and, do you think you could share it, like, and it'll stream on Facebook even though it's YouTube? If that makes sense.
Do what now?
You think like you could share it, like share the link on Facebook, and
Yeah.
then
About to sign in on it.
and I can't find it on YouTube either. Let me see. Maybe I used bad punctuation. Hold on. Nope. Let's see here. Do you have any like tags or anything I could search with it?
I'm about to post the link, or I'll text you the link.
Okay. Yeah, I got to put Facebook pulled up here if you want to send that to me, or I mean if you want to post it so I can see if it works.
All right, there we go. It's showing live on there now.
Yeah, I got to put Facebook pulled
up. Yeah, I can hear it. Copy link. I'm gonna text you both the link if you both want it. I just texted you the link.
Okay. I wonder if I hop out of this app, like if I went to my phone and Facebook, or actually, hold on.
It's not even showing you on the video anyway. It's just only showing me because you're all not doing it yet.
Okay. What about now?
Yeah, it's showing you on the video now.
Okay. Let me do something real quick. Okay. What about now? Yeah, it's showing you on the video now. Okay. Let me do something.
I don't know why it's making that sound.
All right,
yep, you popped it up on Facebook there. I see it.
Okay, now let me go to it and see if it's somewhat live. If it's streaming.
It's a little bit delayed.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, you popped it up on Facebook there. I see it.
Okay, now let me go to it, see if it's somewhat live. Streaming. A little bit delayed. Yeah, I'm going to have to go ahead and pause that.
Don't pause. I would just mute it. That way you can see if anybody's commenting on it, because I can't see it.
Well, it won't be.
If I go to it, it takes over
the
sound.
Okay, I was watching on YouTube, so people, yeah, they might comment it or, yeah. Okay.
I'm sure this is Twitter.
You guys,
all right, Richard, you ready?
Ready?
Yeah.
So if you hear me yell, "Get in bed!" or I have to like off,
hey, man, people want the real thing. They want the real thing, so it's all good.
Might just pull the YouTube up on my phone and watch it on mute so I can see people commenting.
Man, people want the real thing. They want the real thing.
Chad Weatherly. Oh, dude, I could put this up on my TV.
Can you do it?
I mean, we could. Yeah, no, I mean, I could connect my phone to the TV. I'm gonna start recording this now. Record on the computer. Yes. All right. So we'll let. I guess I don't even know if we have anybody watching or not. Does it say we have anybody watching on YouTube?
I think it's just you, and then Facebook. I don't have anything.
Yeah, if they go on Facebook, it'll just go to the YouTube thing.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's just one viewer, which I'm guessing is you.
Yeah, because I'm watching to see the comments, but I don't even see any comments yet.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, they can watch it later.
Yeah.
I mean, where we start? I mean, there was the first 2 episodes of Last Dance. I've been waiting, 2 years since they announced it. I mean, I know they agreed to put it out during the parade of LeBron's 2016 title, but I remember when they announced it because I was like, yeah, that's going to be insane. Especially when they said it was going to be 10 parts and all the parts were an hour long. Which, I mean, let's start it off here. We got to start off with MJ because that's where they kind of started out with. It's kind of reminded me of what they did with More Than the Game with LeBron and his team, where it's not just about Jordan, it's about the whole team, which I'm enjoying. What do you guys think?
I mean, yeah, I liked it because it talked about Phil Jackson, how good of a coach he was. Like I was telling people a couple of days ago, like this team that I had this year was the best team that I've had so far that bought into what I preached. And the hardest thing as a head coach is to get your guys to buy into you. You can be the best X and O coach around. You can have the best athletes, but if they don't buy into what you want, you're not really going to have a lot of success. And I think that just, people's like, oh, well, Phil Jackson had the Bulls and he had the Lakers. I'm like, yeah, but he's got to get those guys to buy in,
Did you see the part when Phil was talking? And I mean, MJ was just zoned right in. Like, that showed you everything about it.
Locked in. I mean, they, greatest player of all time, 2 of the greatest players of all, well, 3, we talk about him, Kobe and Shaq, bought into him, and anything that he came out of his mouth, he could have been like, dog shit tastes good. And they would have been like, yes, coach, you're right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it was awesome. I thought it was great, especially, showing Michael. I mean, the thing I don't like is it's making people compare them again. And, it's like, why can't you just appreciate greatness? You don't know what players would be really good in today's game. Like I tell people all the time, Larry Bird would be really good in today's game, the ability to shoot the basketball, and his toughness. Like, and they're like, oh, he's not that athletic. I'm like, Dirk Nowitzki wasn't that athletic. There's a lot of guys that weren't athletic, that could affect the game in many different ways that was not an athlete. So I just don't like it that everybody's using this to compare the two, because I like LeBron too. I was a big Kobe fan because that was the closest thing you could get to Jordan. But I just hated that they got to like talk down to both of them to like, I just don't like it. I just don't, because as a coach, you look at how talented each player was, but how different they were. I mean, they are not the same player whatsoever, in my opinion. I mean, I think LeBron's more of like a Magic 3.0, that can score it, but it's more athletic, like scary. You know what I'm saying? Where Kobe was like the closest thing that you had to Jordan, but I don't understand why they just can't, it's more social media than anything, but like just it's greatness, man. Like, there's gonna be another kid 10 years now that come. So it's just,
I think his feet's messing up.
Yeah. Let's see here.
There it is. There we go. I mean, to go off of your point, Richard, all day today on ESPN, all it was who's the greatest player of all time? Is it LeBron or Jordan? And then Jalen Rose comes and says, well, I don't even think LeBron's in the top 4 and all that stuff. So, I mean, that's all it's been talked about today is who's the greatest. And it comes from this. And I agree with you. Just enjoy this documentary because we don't have sports right now. And then when sports comes back, enjoy what we have with LeBron. And then once they're both done, then we can compare.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing in football. Like, you know, guys that didn't have the technology that played 20 years ago, how could they be in today's game? You know, with the weightlifting programs and all, like, you can't tell me, like, if Babe Ruth was on today's steroids, you tell me he wouldn't hit 90 home runs.
Yeah.
You know, them, like, I mean, let's just be real honest. So, yes, the game has changed. It's changed. Like, you know, I was talking to somebody the other day, like, Shaq would be, it would be like a catch-22. It would be really good because nobody could guard him, but then at the same time, you know, most teams switch everything, and it's like, all right, dude, now you're going to be switching on LeBron or switching on somebody. He's going to get taken advantage of every time on the floor. So the game is obviously changed. You know, you never will know. I mean, you know, I tell people all the time, one player that I think that I got to watch just motor was unreal. And, you know, he was a lot like a mix between like LeBron, where he, you know, the stat constantly just filled up and he just affected the game without scoring in any different way. So, I mean, you know, the game is definitely different, you know, but I do like how they show old games so you can actually see how physical it is. This is the only difference, I think, today than it was 10, 15 years ago. And even when you coached with me was, you know, it's easy to switch everything. And what I mean by that, like, it's easy to do it. And when you do that, kids lean to do it. And it's like, oh, we're just going to switch it. We're not just going to try to fight through a screen. That is today's game. You know, if you watch some of these old hardwood classics that they're showing even in the 2000s, they're not switching everything. You know, they're trying to fight through it. They're being physical. Like, they're not just playing behind, you know. So, you know, the game 10 years from now, you know, you don't know what it's going to be. It's going to change again. So, but I thought it was awesome. I thought it was cool how they went back in time, talked to his high school coach, you know, talked to him. I liked how he, you know, he talked about how he was 5'10", and then he came back over the summer. He was 6'6". You know, how many kids have you seen kind of do that, you know, throughout your lifetime, or that you were in school with, you know, that you were like, man, that kid could be kind of good. And then next thing you know, it comes back in the summer and he's grew 5 inches, you know?
Yeah.
So
Ray, what did you think when it first started? You see MJ looking out of the window, out the ocean, smoking a cigar, and then it just started.
That was my wife was looking at me like, you are the biggest loser, but I didn't care. Like, normally, like, I would care what she thinks, but like, you're not going to steal this from me. Like, and how Richard was just a couple minutes ago with the kids. Like, I'm just up. Like, yeah, I told them, you know, they got a little bit of a trouble, and I told them, I said, you all are not getting dinner. It's 6:45. I can't deal with it. I can't do the whole, like, I'm not. No, like, this starts at 8 Central. Go to bed. Like, we're go to bed. Like, we are not. This is, first of all, obviously the build up.
Yeah.
And I just want to, you know, before it started, and this may be a great show. I don't have ESPN Plus, so I've never seen Peyton's show, but man, I really don't like it because the whole time with him and Tom Brady may be a great show, but I was just like, gosh, I wish this would just get over here. They're at Jim Nantz house. This is awful TV. Like, let's just get this thing going. You know, and Pippen, you know, the Pippen thing and him, where I was a guy 2 summers ago, I tore my ACL, and I wish I could say that I had the cojones to say, yeah, you know what, it was in mid-July, I'm just going to, you know, get my surgery the third week of school. Well, the doctor recommended it, but after Pippen said that last night, I'm just going to say, yeah, I decided I was just going to wait till company time, like Shaq said. You know, I got hurt on company time, I'm going to miss company time. So just not messing up my summer. You know, I can feel
saw somebody say Pippen wanted to have a bad girl summer is what it was. That's why he waited until after that. But I mean, it went straight into
somebody said like he got a stimulus check before everybody else. I'm like, y'all don't realize he made like I think it was like 80-something million from 98 to 2007.
Yeah, he ended up making more as an NBA player than Jordan did in his career, by like $20 million. That's insane. But it went straight into Jerry Krause, and Smitty sent me the meme earlier, but I also saw the meme a little bit before that where they compared Jerry Krause to the bad guy on Space Jam.
Yeah.
It's like, that's perfect. But it's crazy, man, because when I was a kid, I remember Jerry Krause's stuff pretty much the same just as a kid. It's like, you're pretty much stealing the best player in the game from me because you're being ignorant and you're being selfish.
Yeah, I mean, like, jealousy is a disease, and like, you could, I mean, I remember it. Let's see, that was 90, when all that started going down, I was 12 years old. So 96 is when it started, because when that first year when he came back or the first time they won it all is when it kind of got bad again. And I kind of remember it, but I really didn't. But last night, I mean, how do you have a guy like Scottie Pippen, who's easily a top 20 player in the league, and me and the guy at work was talking about this. It'd be like, listen, Michael, Scottie, Phil, whatever you want, whatever you need, I'm going to get it to you. Like, you just tell me what you need and I'll get it done. And he wasn't like that, which is crazy. Yes, I mean, he drafted Scottie, he drafted Michael, but that's your job. Like, you did your job, so, and they performed. Now, if they didn't perform and they didn't, then you can criticize, but the dudes were winning championships. And then Phil Jackson was obviously the best NBA coach of all time, so.
It was clear that he was getting bullied every single. I mean, his whole life seems like a guy that got bullied. I mean, let's just throw it out there. So,
oh yeah,
he was a guy. Go ahead.
The one guy hit it on the head. He had a little man syndrome.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you did your job so well, and now, like, it's like I'm losing all the attention. We just keep winning championship again. Just stop, and just let it ride out. If they finally lose, I mean, but it's crazy how he just because I'm always interested in why do people make decisions they do, and his was purely derived from I need that attention, I need to feel important, and oh man.
Yeah, him pushing Phil Jackson out the door did not make any sense to me at all. It was, I mean, you're pushing, if not the best, one of the best NBA coaches of all time out the door. And not only are you doing that, but you're pushing Jordan out the door as well because he says he's not going to play for anybody but Phil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, he might be the best coach of all time, honestly, when you sit there and you really think about it, So, like, I mean, I go back to taking care of your guys, like whatever you need, and, I mean, Leffer, as good as anybody, you're the people who busts your balls more than anybody, your best friends.
Yeah.
Guys, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go out on a limb and say, back in the day, they were cool and Jordan and them were busting his balls and he took it personally, like, I'm the boss and you can't talk to me like that, instead of just having a relationship, and it just got worse and worse. The thing I was telling somebody today, imagine if they didn't break them up, they would probably won it in 98 again, because that was the year that they had a short season, right? Then they had lockout.
Yeah.
Okay, so not only do you have lockout, so you give Jordan extra rest, you give Scottie extra rest, and say they might have added one piece maybe, okay? And they play 50 games, you don't think they're beating the Spurs? Come on.
Absolutely. Man. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to think that Knicks team was the 7th seed, made it to the championship with Larry Johnson and Allen Houston and Ewing.
Yeah.
Which that was a good team as well. I mean, that team might have given Chicago a little bit more trouble because they had Houston and Sprewell at that point.
But in
Ewing,
the 7-game series, you
get
get the bet your mortgage. Who you betting it on?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I still don't think they're going to beat them, but I think they gave them a better series than what they had. Yeah, I'm not going to go against them.
Here's my most surprising. You asked this on the live last night, Brandon. Here's my most surprising thing of last night. And I did a little bit of digging, not much today, but as a guy who's trying to work himself up in the coaching ranks, and I listened to a podcast, I don't know if you've heard of it, Richard, it's called Rising Coaches. It's basically a bunch of like mid-major D1 assistants who talk about the grind and everything. And I look at Tim Floyd, like he did give it to Tim Floyd. Tim Floyd, I was, and from 94 to 98, Tim Floyd was at Iowa State. from 94 to 98, I wasn't a huge basketball fan because I was 4 to 8. But I know that Kentucky was really good. UMass, Syracuse, Mississippi State. Like, what did this guy do to get maybe the best basketball job in the world? It just blows my mind.
Let me tell you something. It is all about who you know. Tim Floyd was at Louisville Moore in 2012 recruiting Mikael McKay, who was one of the best dual sport athletes to come out of Louisville in the last 10, 15 years to play basketball. Playing football at either Kentucky or University of Arkansas. So it's, man, I'm going to be honest, it's all about who you know. Like, you know, I was a prep school. I've been a prep school coach for years now, and we moved to South Carolina back in 2015 because I thought if I went and killed it at the prep level for 2 or 3 years, I could possibly move up and get a college job. And I know a ton of college coaches. I mean, I just got off the phone with Travis Steele about some kids just a while ago. But at the same time, a lot of these guys, you know, they hire guys that they've known for 15, 20 years that might not be qualified. And the same thing happens in the NBA, and that's why some guys get fired, you know, and that's why some schools struggle recruiting. You know, I mean, you know, you got some guys that you're like, man, these guys were killing it recruiting, and then, you know, they either move on to another job or, you know, certain assistants move on, and then, but man, it is all about who you know. I mean, I can't even explain it. I mean, you know, you might think that you have a shot at getting a job. And, you know, when I was actually at that school, I interviewed at 2 different Division I schools before I came back. We moved back to Kentucky. And one of them was at Mercer University, which is a Division I school who beat Duke a couple years ago, upset them in the second round of the tournament. Well, I went through the whole interview like I killed it. Like, talking about recruiting, what I would do. Here's the kids we need to target right now, because it was a high academic school. So, you know, I knew what kids that we needed to target and get on immediately, especially in Kentucky, because there's a lot of lower Division I kids here that come out that are good academically. And I mean, absolutely destroyed the interview. And he ended up hiring a guy he'd known for 30 years.
Yeah, that's the way it ends up going.
Cruz good probably, but it was a comfortable hire, and that's the way Tim Floyd. I mean, he was about to he hopped right in and butchered it for I don't know how many years, and then went back to college. You know, but
went on to pay OJ Mayo. What a mistake that was.
Oh my God.
Well, here's the thing, man. They did crap on Krause a lot, and I will say it is kind of unfair because he's not alive anymore to defend himself. But don't you think that some of the blame has to go on Reinsdorf as well? Like, why, as the owner, like, I'm over you. Like, I don't have to take what you're doing. Like, if I don't think that we should get rid of Phil Jackson, which is all Reinsdorf was saying on there, I took care of it. Like, you're the owner. All you got to do is just say, no, we're not getting rid of him. So, I mean, just as much – Reinsdorf is just as much to blame, in my opinion, as Krause is.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I mean, it starts at the top, you know. I mean, you know, he sit back and he kind of let Jerry do whatever. And, you know, it's one of those things when it's your ship. It's the same thing with a head coach. Like I told Leffler back in the day, when we lose games, assistant coaches' names are not in the paper. It's head coaches' names. And, you know, it's the same thing with an organization. I think – like you see somebody like Mark Cuban, for instance. Like what year did they win the championship? What was
2011?
11, yeah.
13?
11.
No,
I'm
11.
sorry.
Yeah.
So they won it in 11, and that's a really good team. And for years they had really good teams. They never could get over the hump. But that just tells you, like, I've heard he is a great owner to work for because, you know, I mean they've not really been relevant since then. You know, they've made the playoffs, but they haven't really. But that just tells you how he knows that he's got stock in Rick Carlisle, and he's got these 2 young studs now who he's going to try to build off of and possibly win another one. Like, I go to the Patriots, for instance, and I know it's the Patriots, but I go through the same thing. Like, and I know Scottie Pippen's not Tom Brady, but if I'm Robert Kraft and you know Tom Brady is great, even at 42 Leffler, and you can agree with me this, if you put weapons around Tom Brady, he's as good as anybody in the league.
Yeah.
Hands down. I'm seeing you right now. As talented as Mahomes and Lamar Jackson is, if you put a good running back and one good wide receiver with Tom Brady, bro, it's over. I'm telling you.
Well, now we get to see. Now Ray gets to see that because he's a Bucs fan. So that's his
And
fault.
just to go further your point, right? So, right, it's got to be on Reinsdorf. And again, Krause did a good job. But like you said, it is your job. But he was a White Sox scout. And again, you think about like the grind of like your journey, my journey, of trying to make the White Sox scout, and somehow he just becomes the GM of the Bulls.
Like, I'm glad you brought that up. Like, you go from being a White Sox scout, okay, baseball, which is like completely different talent. You know, you could watch a football kid and be like, damn, he's a great athlete, you know, but baseball's totally different. You go from being – no, I'm wrong. I mean, he killed it. He found Scotty, and then he got Jordan. But at the same time, it's like, how in the world do you go from being the White Sox to the Chicago Bulls? Yeah, I don't get it.
No, I don't either. Some stuff I wrote down here. Let's see. I feel like some. So I like to. How many? So I know you said you think they win the championship the next year, Richard. Realistically, how many championships do they win if they keep that team together? Because at that point, MJ was 35, Rodman was 37, Pippen was 33. That was in 97, 98, at the end of the 97, 98 season.
I mean, I bet the Mortgage at least win one more. But it's a 50-game season. Now, if it's an 82-game season, that's totally different, you know. But 50 games, they don't have to rely on their bench as much. You know, I mean, that's 32 less games, you know. And I tell people all along, like, this, I mean, what if he doesn't retire for those 2 years? How many do they win?
Yeah, it's 8 in a row. Most likely. I mean, those Rockets teams were good, but I mean, who knows if they would have beaten the Bulls, especially with the way they had it rolling.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I mean, I think at least – I'm not saying they win both, but they at least win one of the two if he doesn't retire. And they definitely win the one in 98. No doubt about it. I mean,
well, here's the thing, though.
No doubt.
If he doesn't retire and go to baseball, they don't get Rodman, I don't think. I wouldn't think they would get Rodman.
That's true.
Ray, what do you think? How many championships do you think they win?
I'm with Richard as far as I'm pretty sure bet the mortgage on the next one, especially in a shortened season. I think they win it even if it's an 82-game season. Just with the Spurs and the Knicks, I just don't see it. I'm also just as sure they probably wouldn't have beat Shaq and Kobe because I guess that would have been 2000 in the beginning of their three-peat.
2001, 2002.
Yeah, I don't see anybody being able to match up with Shaq. Not saying that Kobe would have neutralized Jordan, but I mean that would have been a heck of a matchup. So I think it would have ended there, but 100% definitely one more.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen it, if you all have ESPN Plus, but they just like the other detail shows you were talking about with Peyton Manning, they posted one with Phil Jackson today, and he's breaking down the triangle offense and speaking on Shaq. He said the reason they got Luke Longwood because he was a big body that could guard Shaq. He said, "Now I'm not saying he could stop him, but he could guard him at least." It was good. He broke down like every
Shacking.
He broke down Game 5 of the '98 championship when they just absolutely obliterated the Jazz, like 94-56 or whatever it was. And he broke down like not each possession, but he broke down possessions and just broke down like what they were doing in their triangle offense and like what kind of set they were doing. And he even pointed out one set. He was like, "This is the one that we predominantly used when Kobe scored 81 against the Raptors." And they kind of showed some of the plays that Kobe did in that game. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and now that I say that, you know, who is going to be coaching the Bulls in 2000? You know, if Phil's not on the sideline, if he's on the sideline for the Lakers, then maybe I do take the Bulls. I don't. Maybe if it's still Del Harris, then he's.
Yeah, they did have Del Harris still then. And the thing is the reason they got rid of Del Harris wasn't because he loved Eddie Jones over Kobe so much. Wasn't it pretty much the reason they got rid of him? Not that Eddie Jones was bad, but like you can't keep Eddie Jones in front of Kobe Bryant for that long.
Oh no.
Yeah. I mean, Eddie Jones was good, but Eddie Jones is not in the same
And Kobe
like
Bryant.
atmosphere. Yeah. So what was one thing during this the first 2 episodes that you just like were like, wow, like, are you kidding me?
Not counting the
Bird. I like how Larry Bird came out and said what he said. Like, because Larry Bird don't give a lot of props. And
yeah,
I back and people got on here, they got on Twitter comparing this to LeBron. I'm like, here's what y'all don't realize. Michael, because we didn't have social media back then, people didn't like Michael like they didn't like LeBron either. A lot of people don't know this. There were Bulls fans. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but there was Bulls fans calling into radio stations being like, we're never going to win the championship. It takes more one guy, blah, 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 blah. Like, dude, there were people hating on him like LeBron back in the day, you know. But I thought that was pretty cool because in the second game when he scored, 63, he didn't make 1 3 or attempt 1 3. Am I not mistaken?
I had to look that up. I didn't know that. I know he.
Yeah,
I was
in the
watching
65
clips
game,
from
didn't make 1 3.
Yeah,
Jeez.
and it was all throws and twos. Yeah,
because he was
shot.
when I saw it, he was 22 of 41.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that I don't care who you're doing that against. You go. I mean, you know, Leffler was doing that when he was at Portland Christian against Brown High School. You're going. If you're going 22,
I couldn't. That's the thing. I couldn't even do that against Brown. Ray could. Now, Ray put up buckets. I couldn't. No.
But I mean, that is so efficient. You know, I thought that was awesome. I thought that was really cool. I like the fact that he went golfing with Danny Ainge, and Danny Ainge took a little bit of money off of him, and it probably pissed him off. And he was like, "I'm gonna go out and get 50." You know,
he said, "Tell your guy DJ, I got something for him tomorrow." That was good.
Are you talking about DJ Gatewood? Or y'all gonna go to Landon Park tomorrow?
No. So Ray, what was the part that made you go like, wow?
Well, the Tim Floyd thing was number one. Number two would have to be probably just like, okay, so they go to France and like he just went hard. And like I watched LeBron last year took the kids up to Indiana and like I'm not mad at him for, you know, sitting out or maybe not playing defense at all his last season in Cleveland and maybe a little bit last year, but like it was insane. I don't know how he did it. I mean, just like they're playing a meaningless game after 5 championships in France, and he is just giving them so much work.
I love the part with Scott Burrell too. Scott Burrell's like, "Hey, we just won." He's like, "You should give me a hug." He's like, "It's not the same thing.
You know, count.
I'm not giving you a hug. I'm not giving you a hug." Somebody just said,
and then Roy Williams.
Oh yeah, the Roy Williams quote was fantastic.
He never friggin' turned it off.
like most people when they play like a scrimmage, they're like going through the motion and like you hit on the head. Like he didn't give a shit what it was. He was like, these dudes out, you know.
I like the I can't even remember what I was going to say, but somebody just commented on there. They said their favorite part of it was the headache quote.
Oh yeah,
he was coming back and he said that he had a 10% chance that it would end his career, and he said, "Well, what?" He's like, "Well, you're looking at it negatively." He's like, "Well, Michael, what if you had a really bad headache and I gave you a pill bottle and said 9 of these will help you, but 1 of them will kill you?" He's like, "Depends on how bad the headache is." I mean, he said it a little bit more colorfully, but yeah, it was great when he said that. I guess something that made me go wow a little bit, going off of what Ray said, because you said that thing in France. They still won that, and that just showed like how it's not really a wow thing now. It's like comparing it to now, how bad the European game was still back then compared to now. Like if it was just one superstar going over there and playing against some all-star team from Europe now, they're not going to beat them like that.
Not by 26, no.
No, I mean people don't realize like European basketball, they've caught up. I mean, you know, especially me coaching at the prep school level, and you know it too, Left. Like, I mean, dude, like there are some studs that are coming over here and playing, and I think, you know, the difference is their feel. Their feel is different, and what I mean by that is like, you know, it is a different type of game. You know, over here it's a lot more physical. It can be fast up and down. There it's a lot of movement. I mean, it's a lot of screens, a lot of movement. I mean, it's a lot like Steph Curry. If I get into a gap, kick, I'm relocating and moving, and they're moving that thing to get something, to get a good shot. And there's not a lot of that over here, but you've seen some coaches who have kind of Rick Carlisle's one on with Dallas when he got Dirk, I mean, but the game has changed. I mean, it is going to more of a European style with like an undersized big that can step out and shoot. And to be honest, I think a low post big man, and obviously if you get a mismatch, that's different. There's different stuff that you run, like you talk about with Kobe. But I think the low post kind of Shaq guy is completely going away because I think teams are,
I mean, you got to attribute that to what Golden State started, really. Golden State started doing that. Because that was when Cleveland went small ball, and their center was Tristan Thompson, and their power forward was LeBron. That everyone's turned into a three-point shooting team, and it's just making small ball the absolute number one thing.
Mm-hmm. And our biggest kid was 6'5", so we did a lot of small ball. It was a lot of, and you've seen us play left. It was a lot of dribble handoff, ball screen, and like pick on a guy that we can get a switch because everybody's switching now. But I mean that's what it's going to, and I tell kids all the time when we get them, like, dude, if you can't shoot the ball, you better be damn good at something else, especially if you want to. I mean, you better be a hell of a passer. You better be really good downhill because the game is changing. Because if you can't shoot the basketball, I mean, it is totally changed. Now, I will say this, bring this up on this point. Watching Michael in analytics today in the NBA game, they want to give up the mid-range. So, I go to these little LeBron, Michael arguments, and I'm like, dude, you not realize where Michael made his living at? I'm like, he made his living at the mid-range. So if today's game, if that's what they're giving up, dude, he might score 80 in a game multiple times just because that's what they want.
I think the biggest thing off of it, though, is because even back then, I know it was a lot more rough, but Jordan still got calls back then. And if you think players get calls now, you don't think he's going to get calls? So not only that, he's going to get every call, too.
If you blow on them in today's game, they blow the whistle. And you watch it back then, even 10 years ago, it was more physical. So if he's shooting that amount of free throws in 19, what was that game against Boston? 1988,
16, 18, I think. Yeah.
So how many free throws does he shoot today? He gets James Harden treatment, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, because he's going to get to the elbow, and he's going to lift over him. I mean, that's what people don't realize. He's not just going to sit back and.
What's crazy is I looked this up a couple of years ago because I knew that James Harden was shooting a lot of free throws.
I like Famous Los's video when he threw.
Yeah. James Harden actually shot less free throws than Jordan in a lot of his seasons that he led the league in free throw shooting. And a lot of people don't realize that Jordan shot more free throws than him back then than Harden is now.
Really?
And, yeah, not every season, but there was a couple seasons like when James Harden was leading the league in free throws. Like Jordan shot more than him back then. So you got to think if he's playing now, it's astronomically more. It's like people wouldn't even be talking about James Harden free throws.
Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, because I would guess so. Yeah, I mean, he was like you said, his game was pretty much strictly mid range. So he was driving to the bucket and driving to the bucket and getting hacked at the rim, or he was shooting that turnaround jumper. I mean, he's probably get hit on the arm. And the way the distance is between the defenders now, he's getting around people a lot easier and getting to the rim.
I mean, I go back to them, everybody switching everything. I mean, I'm like, dude, he might be the best one-on-one player of all time, like isolation. I mean, Kobe obviously was really good. Allen Iverson was really good. I know I'm missing a couple people, but as far as like pure scores, I mean,
T-Mac.
If they're switching everything today, and like say they play the Warriors, I don't give a shit what everybody says. He's going right to Steph. They're getting that switch, and he's taking his last to the post every time. So either he's going to foul or he's getting the bucket. I mean, that's the only thing I wish LeBron would do more because, he's 50 pounds heavier than Mike was. about 3 or 4 inches taller. Like, I thought a long time ago, and I said this when he first got in the league, if he would have got like a mid-range game, point where he would go to the post. But it also goes back to coaching. If Phil Jackson coaches LeBron and runs the triangle, I mean, you're talking like, I think it's a lot to do with coaching. You know, I mean, it just is. You know, I mean, he would be impossible to guard in isolation and like how they did with Mike. He would. I mean, he would be impossible. If he went down there every single time and when they created a switch, it'd be over.
Yeah. What do you think on that, Ray?
Yeah, it's I can't remember what the topic was, but the MJ practice is what I need more of.
Yeah.
Him
we're gonna get
dog
more of it
cussing his teammates is what I need. I remember there was an Instagram clip of Kobe that everybody was sharing after he passed away, and of him saying you're soft like Charmin, like, and I saw some people were complaining like, it's too much pre-97, 98. Like, we just need MJ in practice and dog cussing his teammates.
Well, it's going to happen because he already went on Good Morning America and said it's going to be a lot of people that think I'm an a-hole after this.
Yeah.
Like us three, we already know what type of person he was because we paid attention to that stuff. Like, we knew, like, you could see it in the games. You didn't see it as much because they didn't show this backstage stuff, but Jordan was always like that. He was always demanding more.
Yep. And going back to what Richard was saying, Kendrick Perkins was on a podcast the other day, and he was like, yeah, if I was playing today, and he didn't play that long ago, I would be overseas. Like, there's no room for just a big lug that's fouling all over the place.
Yeah. No, but going back to what you said, Ray, is like, man, I'm gonna tell you right now, you always need a guy you need a guy that, when your guys are flat because, the coach is just constantly yelling at them, trying to get in their ass, trying to figure out a way to get them motivated to go. And, a lot of times the only guy that can do it is your best player. Mm-hmm. And, Kobe did that a lot. LeBron does it a little bit, but like far as holding guys accountable, and that's what's wrong with today's game and society is you got kids that not speak up and say anything. It's like they don't want to offend anybody. And I mean, it's created this I don't know, this image of like just softness throughout our whole society, and it falls in through sports where, and it's the same thing with parents. I'll go watch high school games. You watch a coach yell, and he might not even yelling to like degrade or any way. It's just he's yelling because he's high energy and he's coaching, and parents take offense to it. And I'm just like, dude, we are in some trouble. Like as far as, kids, how and it starts at home. I'm going to be real honest with you, how they're raised. I get on my boys all the time, and Leffler knows, like, listen, dude, you're a coach's son. You're going to have to be hard-nosed. You're going to have to be coachable. You're going to have to be able to take criticism at the end of the day. No other way around it.
Brandon, I don't know if you want, I don't know if you want to go, if you don't want this, you got two high school coaches on here about talk about parents and softness. This could go all night.
Especially, I'm just letting you know, I was already graduated when that happened.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, he's exactly right. I remember, and I played at a couple different schools, but as far as like, if you were like, certain coaches will have like Kentucky layups or some drill to kind of get the juices flowing, but you have to like, make so many layups in a certain amount of time, whatever it is. If you screwed that drill up, just wait till we get to the locker room. And I'm not saying that's what I want, but man, we don't have that anymore.
No,
absolutely. So we went on what was something that made you go, wow. Was there anything that when you all started watching it that you were like, wow, I didn't know that?
I didn't know about the 84-85 team being the cocaine, what they call them?
the Bulls cocaine traveling circus or something. That was when he told that story about the hotel room when he walked in there and there was a bunch of girls and just lines of coke and alcohol and weed, and he was like, yeah, I'm leaving. And then I saw
they were bad
today, man.
They sucked.
When he said, yeah, I'm not drinking or doing drugs, and they showed his eyes now. It's like, man, that's messed up, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was like, yeah, I was like, whoa, because I mean, I knew it was during that era, but I mean, I guess because they sucked so bad, it was like, fuck it, you know.
Yeah. Did you see the stands? How empty the stands were?
Yeah, that was nuts.
That's
God bless. It looked like a
Hey.
Flint Tropics game.
They should have had Jackie Moon fighting the bear at that
Yeah.
time. It'd have been packed.
Yeah. What about
So-
you, Ray? Was there anything that you saw that you didn't know?
Just piecing it together that you got Scottie Pippen, NAIA guy, Rodman, whatever Southeastern Oklahoma was,
Hugo.
obviously Jordan, but just all the small college, Ron Harper, Miami of Ohio, I think, like just
Luke
piecing
Longley,
that.
New Mexico.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
I think the thing that, because I mean, I pay attention to the small stuff with that, but I didn't realize, because this is going to start a long discussion here. I did not realize that Pippen's contract was so atrocious. Like, I knew it was bad because he wanted to get traded, but 7 years, $18 million for one of the best players in the NBA. Like, that is unreal to me that he made that little of money.
I mean, you kind of go look at it though, but like some people said he agreed to that, you know. So
Well, he did. He admitted he did. He said
Yeah.
he said in a documentary that he had just come off a back injury or some type of injury, and he was afraid he was going to lose everything. So he needed to get money to take care of his family. Because when he grew up, he was one of 12. His dad had a stroke, was in a wheelchair. His brother was paralyzed and in a wheelchair. So, I mean, he got money when he could, but Reinsdorf was like, we're signing this. I don't think you should sign this. Like, but don't come back here and ask me for more money.
I think it's his agent's fault.
Yeah.
I mean, his agent should have got fired.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest, because I mean, imagine Scottie Pippen playing in today's game. I mean, he's
Well,
he's like,
just to put it in perspective,
let me
look
try
at
to
it like
think.
this. They said he was the 122nd paid player, highest paid player in the NBA. Ray told me this. Andre Roberson's the 122nd paid player in the NBA.
Andre
6'9".
Roberson, I think he can walk into my house. I remember the name. I think he played on the West Coast. He could walk into my house right now, and I might think he works for DoorDash. Like, I don't know.
You'd recognize Andre. He was on those good Thunder teams. I mean,
Yeah,
he still
and
plays for the Thunder.
I thought of that later. But yeah, I mean, I do agree with Jordan a little bit as far as it was selfish. Like, come on, man. Like, this is our last year. After the third championship, that's when you hold out. Or whenever I go play baseball, that's when you go hold out because, like, come on, man. Like, this is our last time. Like, you screwed that up 7 years ago. Just give it one more freaking year, and let's just see where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, you already knew it was like this before we even came into this year. I agree. Yeah, I agree with that as well. But, like, they said to put it in perspective as well as, like, in today's money, it's a 7 year, $33 million contract in today's game. That's insane to me. It's not $33 million a year. That's 7 years, $33 million. That's absolutely insane.
Definitely undervalued and unappreciated. I mean, 1,000%. Like, he should have been getting. I mean, I want to say Jordan was getting 36 million over I forgot how many years. Like, he should have been getting like anywhere from 20 to 26 million for 6 years.
That's where I kind of when you just brought up Jordan and what he was making. Jordan made more than $4 million 2 times in his whole career. That's insane to think about. To think that one of the best players of all time, he made more than $4 million twice. That's insane. And that was in 96, 97, and 97, 98.
Yeah.
He made
it was different.
He made $1.5 million with the Wizards.
I mean, that's 20 years ago, too, though. You got to look at it from that perspective. If he plays today, he's a $250 million player.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the thing. You look up the salaries from those years. The second highest salary in 97, 98 was Patrick Ewing. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, I think Patrick Ewing was making like $18 million.
Was he really?
So like, it's insane to think about. He was making 3 times as much as. Actually, no, I'm sorry. He's making 9 times as much as Scottie Pippen was in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a good stat to see is the pay grade that year, like the top 10 guys, what they made,
just to see, because you can. I mean, I'm being honest. I'd rather have Scottie Pippen than Patrick Ewing on my team that year.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, especially with that team, you don't need a big man that's going to clog the lane when you got people that can drive to the rim.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, I'm like, so, you know, they get over this LeBron argument and this and that. I'm like, okay, so let's say Jordan. Jordan had Pippen. Let's say he adds another really good power forward, or he adds another shooting guard. Be like Jordan.
Keeps cutting out real bad.
Yeah.
Or Reggie Miller. Can you imagine Reggie Miller? So I was talking about like how LeBron made the super teams and all this kind of stuff.
Okay.
Can you imagine LeBron adding Charles Barkley or like Reggie Miller?
Yeah, I mean, but here's my rebuttal to that, because a lot of people put shame on him for going to Miami, which I agree. One, name before that one coach that he had that was anywhere close to Phil Jackson. He doesn't have one. I mean,
No.
What do he have? Mike Brown.
Mike Brown.
Had Paul Silas. I mean, he had terrible coaches. Pretty much his entire career outside. I didn't think at the time, but Eric Spoelstra was a very good coach and still is a very good coach.
I was agreeing. Yeah, I was agreeing. I think he's the best coach LeBron's had by far.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. At the time, I was like, oh, but now you see the stuff that he does. Like I felt like he was ahead of the times with a lot of the things he was doing. But that was one thing. And then you think about the players that he was getting in Cleveland. Like Jerry Krause went out and got players for the MJ. LeBron never had that his first time in Cleveland. I mean, his second best player the year they went to the championship game in 2007 was what? Larry Hughes?
Mo Williams, baby.
Yeah. Larry Hughes. Like it. That's
Out of
that's where I
everything,
kind of.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, out of everything he's accomplished, I would say that team that he took to the finals was unreal.
Mm-hmm.
Unreal.
Yeah.
And I'm be honest, I'm a big Jordan fan. I don't think Jordan takes that team to the finals, maybe.
It's tough, man. Like the East was weak outside of the Detroit team, that's the other thing that doesn't get talked about, because people always talk about how he's not clutch. He beat that Detroit team pretty much by himself in Game 5 or Game 7 to put them in the championship. Like that was unreal to see, and he was at that point he was 22, 23 years old.
22.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. He's 22 years old, beating a team that had just won the title the year before, didn't they? Or no, 2 years before that. But they still had everybody there.
So do we blame LeBron for this Richard as far as the softness? Because you know he's not getting into guys in practice like Jordan and Kobe is. Is it? Can we go ahead and start that?
Is it LeBron's not doing it?
I mean, man, it's all about culture. I mean, you know, like we had Chris Beard, who's the head coach of Texas Tech, come to our practice, and our post-grad and our high school team practiced together. And our post-grad went against our high school team every day in practice. Well, you know, it was my job to tell our post-grads, because we were kind of, you know, we were undersized, but we were scrappy as hell. They played hard. They listened. And, you know, I would tell them, like, bust their ass, especially when there's a Division I coach in the gym, bust their ass.
Yeah.
There's no buddies today. Because there's scholarships on the line, you know, and they took that to the heart. And that's why our guys constantly just got so much better. But going back to my point is, like, that day, for instance, in practice, I mean, our post-grads just went right at them, you know, but very enthusiastic, you know, just a good practice in general from top to bottom. And Chris Beard came up to us after practice and was like, dude, this culture's unreal. He's like, you hold everybody accountable, like you play hard. You know, you guys are organized, and, you know, it went on and on. He's like, this is a really good, you know, culture that you guys are trying to deal with. I think it goes to that, man. Like, be like, all right, I got such, he ain't fucking scoring again. And I don't see that with LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, in the finals, he's, you know, it's like he's not guarding Kevin Durant. They're switching everything, and he's easily just switching off. And it's like, dude, if this is the finals and I'm going to score 58, 8 and 8, I'm guarding Kevin Durant. I'm winning game one. Because if they win that game one, it's a totally
Who knows
different
what ends up happening with that series?
series. When they lost that first game, it was over. I mean, I just think it's, my only knock on LeBron is not that he's not tough, but it's one of those things where Jordan, Kobe had it, Bird had it, where it was like Isaiah Thomas had it. It was like, this dude ain't fucking scoring again. He's not scoring. You know what I'm saying? And that's my only thing that I don't like about LeBron, and especially in those finals, because he could have easily just be like, you know what, I'm guarding KD. I got him. That's why I'm such a big Klay Thompson fan as a coach, is because the dude can go out there and get 40 points and not dribble the ball more than 5 times, and then he will guard the other team's best player the whole game. Like, you want guys like that, and I love Steph because he's a great role model. Like, my kids love him, but I'm a huge Klay Thompson fan as a coach, because just all the fact that he doesn't get 12, he's going to other teams player.
Yeah.
One night he's guarding. Like, I wish LeBron was kind of like Jordan and Kobe. So was Kobe. They took it personal. Like, this dude's not scoring. So.
Yeah, Ray brought it up earlier. I did love that quote by Roy Williams. So I think that's probably how I want to end up. Is Roy Williams was talking about MJ, and he said Michael's the only guy that can turn it on and turn it off anytime he wants to, but he never turns it off. I mean, this is honestly, man, I shared a video earlier on Facebook where it was the guy it said how I felt whenever I watched the first 2 episodes of Last Dance, and he's like, "Give me 2 more, give me I could have watched all 10 hours of it last night."
Well, I follow Travis Scott on Twitter, and I guess he got like every episode. He watched it, and some of the stuff he was tweeting, it was actually pretty cool. And he was talking about, dude, it's just like, I guess because it gets so much better towards the end, it's like, he's like, dude, it's just like a championship mindset with him.
I'm ready to see. The only thing I'm ready to see, because it seems like I didn't think that they would do this part where they were building up and showing everything beforehand. I'm ready to see, like, after they lose during the season, or when they really get nose to the grindstone in the locker room where someone's really mad. And, see how that's right. Because they said that they let him through everything. They let him see everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're going to when you win a championship. I mean, no matter what the level is, you're going to go through up and downs. Shit, everything ain't rainbows and butterflies. You're going to have guys that are going to get into it. That might mesh at one point, and then one game, he thinks he's icing him out, and he's not going to pass it to him again. I mean, you're going to go through it, and I think it will. I mean, because you had so many outside influences, because you got Rodman, for instance, who outside of basketball was just a damn total hot mess. But when he stepped through the lines, like, you want that dude on your team. You know what I'm saying? Like, the dude knew his role. He did his role better than anybody. Like, I mean, how many guys can go out and get 30 freaking rebounds, score 2 points, and affect the game like that? You know what I'm saying? Your stat line's like 2 and 5.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like Rodman would be somebody that I wanted on my team. Yeah, mine were all fouls, though. Mine were all fouls. That's the only difference. Like, he's getting rebounds, I'm just getting fouls. But, guys, I appreciate you taking away some time with your family to hop on here. I think I'm going to do it every Monday for the next couple of weeks when they come out. So, I mean, if you guys get some people that maybe would want to join and talk, we can do it again. I'll try to work out some of the kinks and maybe get it to work on Facebook Live. But, guys, I appreciate it, man. It's been fun. I'm glad to see someone else's perspective and see that we're all like little kids again watching this, because it's been fun.
Yeah, man, I enjoyed it. It was awesome. Hey, we need to do a coaching thing.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I'll give each other your all's contact information so you two can get together as well. I mean, Ray lives in Nashville, but he comes up here once a month during all that stuff. So if you guys can get together and get some coaching stuff
Absolutely.
done.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
See how to learn how to deal with parents.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I appreciate it. All right, Lef, I'll be in touch.
All right,
All right,
man.
guys.
I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, see you, buddy.